Attitude Era podcast. We're here again. We're at the wrestling convention in New Jersey. We're here with an absolute legend, someone who we've been trying to get on the podcast for a while.
You have not been trying.
I'm not.
You've been trying for real?
The
all you had to do is
legend.
call me.
We're here with Marty Jannetty.
Awesome. Jay in the house.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. We'll start with the.
I got a broken fetlock or whatever them horses get.
All right, so we'll start with probably the most common question you get asked. Tag team with Shawn Michaels. What was that experience like?
That wasn't the most common question, but that's something we don't talk about. The ladies late at night.
Oh, okay. We might have to talk about that because it's Attitude Era, so you know we get a little crazy.
Is that where we're at? Okay.
Attitude Era podcast. We get a little R rated.
Brother man said, "No, come on, man. It's family. Rated PG. Just went to R."
Oh yeah, this one's gonna be R-rated.
We get the Attitude Era, may go X.
So let's start with you getting partnered up with Shawn and becoming that tag team. What are the origins of that?
Well, originally it started, both were rookies. First year in the business, I was 6 months in. Shawn started down in Texas. I started in Kansas City, called the Central States area territory, and they had shipped him up. I'd been there, and I was already one of their champs, like tag team champion, and split it off, and we lost the belts to somebody. But Shawn came into the territory from Texas, where Texas All-Star Wrestling, and they had a TV taping, and somebody didn't show up that was in a tag match. So they came and grabbed me, and they were just putting a match together real quick. Grabbed Shawn, said, "You two guys, y'all seem to like each other. Because we'd done some partying already." Even though Shawn was 19, he went loud in the clubs. They had to bring beer out to him in the car. But we, first time tagging ever. We just barely knew each other from partying, nothing together in wrestling. Then fill in for a tag team match. And I forgot who we wrestled, but it clicked. Me and Shawn, I would be watching him in the ring thinking, hey, he should do this, he should do that. And then he would do it. I'm like, damn, okay, he's in there. And I found out later he was thinking the same thing when I was in. He was like, if he would do that, or if he would do, and then I would do it. It's like we were in sync with each other immediately. When the match was over, everybody was saying how good it was, as far as the promoter and the boys. And Shawn and I looked at each other. We said, "Did you feel something there?" Because sometimes there's chemistry and it just clicks. And everything okay, brother man? Okay. And she is. I guess she's pretty. You have to double take on that. Okay, but that was the first time we'd ever had any experience together. We didn't ever tag again. He stayed in the area, and then went back to Texas. A little spoiled brat. Went back home. And then about a year later, I went to AWA. They asked me about tagging with anybody that I knew, and I said, "Yeah, this guy is Shawn Michaels." And they were like, "Yeah, we know of him. We was wanting to get him up here. That'd be great." And they threw us together as a team. They said, "We're going to put a rock and roll type character on you, upbeat, go out and ring, rocking and rolling, and think of a name for yourselves." Shawn and I, is this a long answer?
Not at all. This is perfect.
Shawn and I told each other, let's think of 100 names. And after about 40 or 50, it gets hard. Mm-hmm. and if we both thought of 100 names along that theme line, rock star kind of shit, if we happened to hit one together, that would be it. It would make sense that we both came up with the same thing. It was hard to get 100. I had about 70 or 80. He had about 70 or 80. Nothing close. It was nothing like one word the same. But we were out Las Vegas, where we did Showboat. With AWA days, they filmed out in Las Vegas every third week, which was a mistake for them to take us out there. Mr. Perfect, who was Kurt Hennig at the time, that's his actual name. He was Big Van Vader, was Leon White. He was coming through and he wanted to party, and we had a reputation as partiers. Imagine that. And Big Van Vader told Kurt, he goes, "I thought you said these guys party, man." He goes, "It ain't even midnight. You got to wait till midnight. They don't even start till midnight." And then that Judas Priest song, "Living after midnight, rocking till the dawn." And Kurt's like, and we're sitting there like, it's funny he just said that they don't start till midnight, and then that song is exactly that, "Living after midnight." So he goes, "There's your name and there's your song, Midnight Rockers." So Kurt really came up with it. In the song, it was so good for us because we were living it. Rocking till the dawn, loving till the morning, then we gone to the next town.
That's awesome.
And that was how it all came in. And of course, once we went to WWF at the time, you couldn't take Midnight Rockers because it was Vince is funny too. How we came up with the Rockers. You had to change the name because they had it copyrighted, right? So he goes, "You guys think of a name and come give it to me." Same problem. We couldn't think of a new name, right? We went in and we're like, "We got nothing, Vince." He goes, "Well, what do the guys call you when they want you in the locker room?" They said, "Oh, they just say the Rockers." He goes, "There's your name." It was just like that. We beat our heads up, and Vince, bam, the Rockers. And all we could have just dropped the Midnight ourselves. There's a similar, in the contracts, similarities or likenesses.
Yeah.
And I guess that got away with Rockers was good enough. And so that was it. And then, of course, from there, we, littlest guys in the territory. I mean, Big John Studd and Andre the Giant.
Oh, wow.
And Big King Kong Bundy was short, man. He was 6'4". All the other guys, 6'6", 6'9". Even Hogan. But these were the first guys we saw when we walked into Backstage. First day for TV tapings. Biggest you walk by. Thank God, what's his name? Like Bundy walks. He's only 6'4", 400 pounds. He's as big this way as he was tall. And I told Shawn, I said, "Man, we don't belong here. we got to go." And we didn't know to get real early if you wanted to get a locker room because they had the enhancement match. The guys that make you look good there. Some used to call them jobbers. I hate that term. It's a put down.
Yeah.
And the guys help us. Why would you call them jobbers? But we were outside of the dressing room. No more room. We just experienced the shock of the land of the Giants. And I'm looking because you make sure production girls aren't coming by. You hurry up and you change your pants, you change your clothes. I look, nobody. And the arena's a curve, so the hallways in the back are curved. You don't see nobody, but they could have just been one step. I pull my pants down here, "Brother, do you mind?" And I look at his Macho Man, he's got Elizabeth with him. I'm like, "God damn."
You got caught with your pants down.
We just ain't, we're not gonna make it here, Shawn. But we actually ended up doing stuff that the big guys couldn't do. Flipping, backflips, and jumping off top ropes, doing all kind of tandem stuff, and it set us apart. And that's how we basically made it. And that was, from just being thrown together one time and then going through the ringer and then the Rockers until the barbershop window.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because my next question was exactly that. We went from the beginning, you have this illustrious career, and then you get into what's probably one of the best, if not the best and most known heel turn in wrestling history.
They say the top two are that is, a toss-up, which was the best angle ever, storyline ever, or, the initial, the angle. Was it the Piper's Pit where he hit it with the coconut, Jimmy Snuka, or me getting thrown through the barbershop window? It's the top two, and they still talk about ours. I mean, it kind of fizzled out the coconut thing. Could be because both the guys have died. It's very sad because they were both friends. Along with him, a lot of the guys, man. But they say it's the best storyline. They keep showing it. It's 30 years later.
Yeah.
It's 30 years later.
Because at that time it was like when people seen that, it almost felt so real. So that's why when people watch
it felt real to me.
Yeah.
Shawn hit me so. People ask me what it feel like with that window. How did you because they did cut me a little bit, but not bad. It was surprising. But they asked me today, a lot of people asked me, they said, what did the window feel like? What did it feel like? I didn't feel it. He kicked me so hard under the chin with that super kick. The window was like nothing. Thanks. Today, like you were saying, when you were young, it's seared into your brain when you're young. There was people today, like 35 years old, 40 years old, saying, when I was a kid and I saw that, I cried. And I hear that a lot, It was so traumatic on kids like 3, 4, 5 years old seeing that, they're all happy about these two guys with high energy, little flashy uniforms, and then you see one of them kick the other one, throw them through a window, and you're only 3, 4 years old. You're like, what happened, Mommy? What that? Why? fine. Why'd you do that, Shawn?
And what was your reaction when they told you this was going to happen? Were you against it? Were you excited to maybe go into a singles run? What was your reaction?
It was mixed. I didn't care what we did as long as it was good, you know. And they kept a lot from me, and I don't mind that because spontaneous and real reaction. You know, if you got things planned out, they might look planned out. If you don't know everything, you get a real response, and that's what the people read. When I first went to Japan, I think it was Stan Hansen told me, you know, you don't call, you don't tell. Sometimes you tell the guy in the ring. It's hard anyway because we don't speak Japanese. Maybe a couple words, Sakahachi, which is not something you should say. Y'all can
gotta censor that for the Japanese.
You got yes, because you know what that means. It pretty much means in Japanese what it sounded like in English. But you know, we do gomenasai and chatamati. I mean, you learn little phrases that you need to know, you know, to help get through. But you can't speak it by no means fluently.
Yeah.
And so you're in the ring and, hey, give me a backdrop. They don't know what the hell that means.
Right.
Although the Japanese can speak pretty good English, it's a requirement, you know, in school. In fact, most international countries that we went to, English is required for them to learn as their second language, you know, their home language. In America, I don't think we require it. We offer it, but it's required in other countries. So English, just like, you know, us learning in another country, it'd be broken. They can speak it, it might be broken. But I mean, it's almost we must be dumb. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah, attitude era.
I was going to say,
we're about to get into some real. We're about to get into the wilder questions, but so just to get us out, pro or con the heel turn of Shawn when you heard about it?
I was all for it. I mean, anything that would work. You know, we go out. Main thing is to entertain the people and have fun doing it too. You know, and that was the problem. It wasn't that much fun. Hey, there's a problem, children.
And so we're talking about Shawn Michaels and the heel turn.
And we're shooting a documentary on you guys. We're shooting a documentary on you guys.
What were we talking about? You guys can come if you want. We're doing an interview with Marty. We're talking about the heel turn, and I was about to ask him. So you didn't mind the heel turn?
Y'all coming back, right? No, I didn't mind. Okay, y'all are coming back though. All right.
Hey, this guy is really the attitude era. This is not.
Well, they half the shit I see them do them. There's like something I had done to somebody, joking wise or whatever, ribbing. We call it ribbing in the wrestling world. Ribbing. I mean, half the shit they did. I'm watching it from home, going, gosh, damn. Why ain't I a part of that since you're using my stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after the heel turn, I wanted to say, let's get into some behind the scenes stuff. So to this day, did you and Shawn remain friends? Like, do you still talk?
Yeah, mainly like events like this today. I don't know if they'll know what that is. Did you shoot?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll see. It's a New Jersey convention.
Yeah, when Shawn and I would see each other at one of these, we'll hug up and it's like we're best friends again. But once we're apart, that really happens with all the guys. You ain't seen the guys in so many years. You get any new phone numbers, but you vow to stay in touch. Yeah, man, we got to stay in touch. Never do. Once you go, because it's always on the move. It's always here, there, next place. You know, in opposite places. You know, so you really, we text, but it's short and to the point. Like, hey, are you all right? Yeah, you all right? Cool. Well, that's it for 6 months. Yeah. But yeah, we're good. We're good. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder because I tell some truths, and you know, if I stay, you know, real with it all, it doesn't look good for him. And I just hope sometimes he don't hear it. You know, like, hey, Marty said that you was fucking Tammy, Sonny, you were fucking her, and Chris caught you. And I really, he's family now. You know, this is years later. But that's why I figure it's okay to tell because it was way back then in '96. You know, I don't know what year this is, but it's been a while.
So what's one of the now we're gonna get into the nitty gritty now. I had the question we had to ask. What's like one of the stories that someone got mad at you for putting out there?
Did somebody got mad at me?
Yeah.
I can't think of one. Sergeant Slaughter today said, "I heard you told everybody I was AC/DC." I said, "No, I heard that. I didn't say it. I didn't say it because I didn't know. And I ain't got nothing against you if you are. Just don't bring it here. I like ladies." All
right, let's talk about.
And he did though. That's true. I said, "Oh no, who told you that?" But I ain't never said that about you. I have heard it, and I was asked, "Did you know that?" I'm like, "I've never seen no signs of it. I never felt my ass warm when I was changing."
Oh my!
Like he was staring, you know, because you can sometimes feel when somebody's staring at your ass. It gets warm. You got to look around, and if you see Rick Martel, you're like, oh, stop, man.
Oh no. So what? Let's talk about the backstage, because you know, a lot of people today talk about the backstage politics and how it affects their career. How did backstage politics, if at all, affect the career of Marty Jannetty?
Because he didn't play them. It didn't do as well as if I would have played the games at some, and I won't mention Shawn's name in that. If I would have played some of the games, Al Snow said it best. He goes, Shawn Michaels, I mean, they were equally talented. Marty might even be a little bit better, but Shawn played politics backstage better, which means he kissed ass. That's what that means, and maybe more, but I don't think so. I don't think Shawn went that route. I think he let them kiss his, maybe. And I don't know if that makes it different. You know, somebody once asked me,
Marty is different, bro.
Somebody once asked me, and you might have to bleep some of this, said, well, like, listen, if somebody, you're hungry as hell and somebody offered you a hamburger to suck a dick and you did it, does that make you gay or does that make you hungry?
Marty is different, man.
Well, I mean, think about it. In backstage, those are kind of things proposed to you in a different way.
So did you ever have,
if you
like,
want to be a champion here, come on over here.
So did you ever, one of these wrestling terms is heat. Did you ever have like real life heat or backstage heat with anyone in the locker room?
No, everybody, I loved everybody loved me. As far as I know, I've never heard anybody that didn't. And to this day, when I see everybody, we hug each other up. I mean, today was so great. I got to see some of the guys I ain't seen forever. Godfather was so good to see him, man. Mm-hmm. You know, Papa Shango, he was dressed up today.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And we actually had him on the podcast as Godfather.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a great interview. He got lit.
He's good, man. I love him to death. I had a match with him. I mean, I've shrank down a few inches with age, and plus my ankle surgeries. A few cutting shit out, and I'm like, no, please, no more. And he was huge, and I saw him today, and like he shrank down about 3 inches or so. I mean, he's still big. Yeah. But
so you have these friendships with everybody. I mean, you kind of got into a little Midnight Rockers. You are a real life rocker. You live it.
Yeah, it's not a gimmick for me.
What Marty might be a little too attitude era. Like, we're attitude era podcast, but Marty's.
I got a question that's more positive.
Please.
Right? Yeah, you want to pull us out of this one?
Yeah. From you seeing Shawn Michaels when you first met him, like you said, a 19-year-old kid, up until now. Just what do you say to his journey from the person that he was into the person
Well, when I met him, he was 19 years old. He was just like a little spoiled rich kid. He had the short hair. The first time I met him, they told me, and my best friend that died, DJ Peterson, Dave Peterson, in WWE was DJ Peterson. Sort of had to look like, if y'all know Magnum TA was.
Yeah, he was here today.
Yeah, I didn't get to see him. Damn it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him, but the mustache and the curly, he looked a lot like him. So just so if y'all remember or don't remember, or are old enough to remember DJ Peterson, best friend. And then he died. Got ran over. He was on a motorcycle. A tractor trailer truck cut short and right over him, man. He was just getting his life back on track with his marriage. Got away from the drugs, a lot of cocaine back then. Got away from that. But so he told DJ and I that, hey, this Shawn Michaels is a new guy, and he's new to the territory. He came up for Texas. Like, just look out for him. This is before him and I tagged that time we just talked about earlier. But look out for him, keep, kind of, he's just young, he's probably wanting a party, so he will hang out with you, because all the other guys were older, And we were in Topeka, Kansas, and we're looking for him. First of all, we're thinking, when does this happen? When you start taking care, you didn't take care of me when I came in. Dave said, you didn't take care of me either. And so we're going to take care of Shawn. We're looking around for him. We're interested in seeing who this guy is that they're coddling already. Right. And seeing just one nerdy looking guy over in the corner, because there was always new guys when you go to different cities, the local guy that they were using. So I figured it was a local guy, and we said, hey man, you know who Shawn Michaels is? He goes, I'm Shawn Michaels. Short ass hair, his tights pulled up under his chest. He's just taken off his blue jeans with a big Texas belt buckle thing, the boots, the cowboy boots. I'm thinking, man, we're gonna have to work on this kid. Little did I know we would have 7 years tagging together. But he was so quiet, so innocent. I mean, he didn't even try to sneak in the bar. He was 19 years old, and when we would go to the bars, you know, Dave and I would go in. We were over 21, and you know, we felt bad for him enough that we said, "We'll bring you a beer every so often," and sometimes we'd bring a girl down to the car to take care of him for a little bit. And, you know, I mean, we had to. He couldn't get in, and he didn't. He was so shy. I remember the first time we picked him up to go to a city. We were running a little late, but we knew we didn't have to be that 1 hour early. And this was in Topeka, the same place that we first met him. And that was every Tuesday. The next Tuesday, we was going to hook him up, you know, teaching him how the business is. And then we had this girl named Topeka Patty. You know, she would always service the new guy in town. And so she knew her job. She didn't mind. She didn't mind whatsoever. And so we pull up in front of the arena. I see her, Patty, Patty. And, you know, she comes over. It's a new guy. She hops in the back and trying to disguise this and sugarcoat it. But she would bend over. Her head disappeared in his lap. She was tired, but she was face down. And and he's sitting there. This is how he was. This is to show you how he changed in a quick time. And I might have been responsible for some of it, but he's back there in the back, and he's like, "Don't we got to be at the building?" And you can just see the back of her head coming up every so often. And then she was like nervous, and just relax, brother. Relax. We're going to be late. He was so scared that we was going to be late, and he didn't understand this. We just pulled her out in front of the line, in front of the building, and she's doing that for him. And yeah, sweet and innocent kid, man. And he got ruined real quick.
Any idea?
But he went from that. We'll fast forward way up about 5 or 6 years. Now he's demanding, "Hey, come here! Hey, you come here!" And he started being arrogant and cocky. And as Macho Man once told me, I told Randy, a very good friend, and rest in peace, I hope. If anybody is, he should be. I told Randy once, I said, all this fame, you know, that we're getting now, it's changing Shawn. He's getting all arrogant. He goes, "No, brother, it's making him comfortable to be who he really is." And it made sense. I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. Because he was flashing moments of arrogance, even when he was in the shy years, the beginning. But yeah, he went so far. He went beyond arrogant. I mean, he admits it now. He got religious. He got through all of his little cocky ass years, and you know, he's that young kid, innocence again, but not ignorant. Not you know, he knows what life's about now. So he's back to being a good little humble kid. But he went that route way up to the top of the mountain of being an ass. I mean, all the boys hated it, you know. I mean, and he knows it. He said that was hard to handle. Vince says it, you know. Many times I just wanted to kick his ass. You know, Vince don't say that about people. Of course, that's his boy toy. But yeah, man, that was the Shawn route. Started off innocent, hit the top of arrogance, and come right back down. The religion helped him a lot. So you know, I'm proud of the path he took. I might have knocked him off the path myself, you know. So I take some of the blame, not much.
Do you remember like the last conversation you had with him or no?
I think I was drunk. So I don't. You know, that's sometimes I hate telling this, but it's an attitude error, right?
Right.
I often am asked because I'm single still, and I'm still, even though I'm a little bit older now, I still love my ladies. And somebody had brought it out, and they said, well, how old were you the first time you had sex? I said, well, I was just about 5. And they said something, so, but don't ask me about it because I was too drunk to remember.
Oh no! His attitude ever to the next level. So let me ask you this before we get into, because I want to end with the Roddy Piper story.
Okay.
But closing off the whole you and Shawn thing, there was a while where people would chant Marty, Jannetty. I don't know if you remember when we were watching Marty,
Jannetty part, but
Marty. And then in 2005, you came back and you teamed up with Shawn. Yeah. What went into that, and was it were you happy to see him again? Was it all?
Well, I went through some things that I had gotten another DUI, and in the state of Florida, when you get 3, it becomes a felony. So I was going to be going through some shit. I thought I was going to do some serious time, which I ended up doing 9 months. Not yet, but I mean, it was building up. I thought I was going to do it the first time, but yeah, it's a long story, so I won't tell that. It had to do. It had to do with me contemplating like ending it all, because I just went through a 5-year period of no driving, and I was a couple months away from getting my license back.
Right.
And then that shit happened. There's a long story to that. We'll skip that. But I basically tried to do everything right that night, and I got frustrated. I couldn't get my friends to drive me home. I wasn't going to drink because I had drove to this place to meet this girl from TV, the local TV. She was a sports anchor, and she came to the wrestling school and wanted to do a piece on the school, and her and I ended up hitting it off and liking her. And my brother had a heart attack, who's my second hero in life, my dad being my first. And he had a heart attack, so I was wanting to go home to see him, but I couldn't drive, and I was house sitting for my friend who went on his honeymoon. It's too long the story to shorten it now, but I ended up going out, and she had a date. Well, she brought a date with her where she told me to meet her, and I'm like, what the fuck? and she calls me, and I'm sitting 3 tables back because I wasn't going to go. You know, I thought maybe it was some of her news people, Channel 9 news people with her, because they were cool people, but I didn't know because he's got his arm around her. So I just sat there and waited for a while. And she calls, she goes, where you at? I'm about 3 tables back. She goes, oh, you see then, I brought a boy with me. Yeah, like, yeah, I see that. Thanks for inviting me out here. And so some of my boys came through from the gym, and they were like, what are you doing? I said, I'm supposed to be with her. And they're all hugged up over there. And, so they're like, fuck that girl. No, I'm not. No, I'll leave her alone. Leave her alone. Everyone was going to go cuss her out. You know, she's a sports girl on TV. They're like, no way, she's right there. Fuck that bitch. But so I sat with them, and it was $5 or $2 margarita pitchers. And they were like, here, man, have a drink. No, I can't. I drove. I can't. I'm not going to drink and drive, because I had 2 months still to wait. And it was just a little short trip to meet her at that place. And I was trying to keep my mind off, and I wasn't able to drive home 4 or 5 hours to get to my brother. And thank God he had called and said, don't worry about getting here. I'm going to be okay. That helped. But so, they finally, I said, okay, give me a drink, one of them. I had one, so you know what happened from there. I had an old picture from me before long. And even then, I was told that one of the guys said, I'll take you home, don't worry about driving. So, okay, I'll drink with him a little bit. It turned into a bunch. And finally he said, I got to go, man, let's go. And got in the car. He was a UFC fighter. And I was all intrigued with that because I did a little bit of it myself, along with the wrestling and sports. Got in his truck, actually, and we're driving. I'm asking him UFC fighting questions. He's asking me wrestling questions. Time's gone, and we look up, and we're in front of another club. And I'm going to try to hurry so we can get her.
Oh, no, you're great.
And so I look up, we're in front of Jannetty's, which is another hot spot in town. And this is when I was living in Tallahassee, Florida State's right there. There's a lot of young girls. I mean, at that time, I was like 40s. It was still too old for 20-year-olds, right? But I could look. And asked if they had a sister or a mother nearby. But I was like, man, I got to go. I thought you was taking me home. And then by the time I'm saying that, these 2 girls come walking by, their tits hanging out the top and beautiful. And I'm like, all right, we'll go in for one. Girls are my kryptonite, I can tell you that. But, so we went in for one, and I did a shot with those girls, actually, and cutting up with them. But time goes by, and I'm like, I got to get out of here. I mean, I wanted to get back to the house the whole night, really. And so I went and said, he told him I got to go, man, you going to take me or not? Because I was going to get a taxi. And he goes, I'll be right there. I don't know how long that went. And then y'all get to edit this?
Yeah.
All this is going to get edited out. Eh?
No, you're great.
I'm still going to cut right to it.
This all is going to be in the final.
And it's kind of amazing, but it's just long. And if you cut some of it out, it don't hit as much as what happened. So anyway, I said, fuck it, I'm going to get a cab. And I walked up to the bartender, and he goes, you ain't got a call when you're right there. It was like a little stand. They come through. I walked to go get a cab to go home. I was just going to leave. And he goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm going home, man. I told you I needed to be there. I'll go, okay. So we get back in the car, and he's going to take me home, and we're talking again. Same shit, UFC, wrestling, pro wrestling. And I look up, and we're right back where we started. It was like a pool. It was called Pockets, a little pool hall sports bar. And I went, what the fuck are you doing? Sorry about the language. Edit that, I guess. It's the attitude.
Attitude error. You can curse as much as you want.
And so he's like, well, I'm gonna catch my girl. And he's a UFC fighter, right? I mean, he's gonna hurt somebody, and I don't need to be a part of it, all right? But he wants to go in there and catch his wife. I said, come on, man, damn, it's 2 miles that way. You can't run me to the house first? And he was like, I just want to catch her. I just want to catch her. Fuck, I'm not gonna let him get jumped on by others. I know no one guy's gonna get him, but what, they got friends with him. So I go in there and he's chit-chatting, had another drink, waiting. I said, fuck it, went to the front, ordered a cab there. The security bouncer guys, like, please get me a cab. And he called. 15 minutes go by, 20 minutes, and I was drunk now. It seemed like forever. And I'm sitting there fucking mad as shit. The one guy said, I'm sorry, sometimes they'll take up to an hour to show up. I'm like, fuck. And when my hands went down to jingle the keys, my keys, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I can make it home. I got it. I was a little lost. I just had to find Tennessee Avenue, and it was just straight down that. It was like a wagon wheel there in Tallahassee. It's a circle that goes around, and you got like spokes that are main streets. I just needed Tennessee. Take a left, and then go right down to the house. But so I'm slowing down at each intersection, trying to see what the name of the street. Blue lights come on, and then only because I kept slowing down, go up to the next block, slow down, and I was drunk, man. There was no way around it. I mean, I tried to wrestle things like, hey, man, I just wrestled in town. I'm lost. It ain't worked that time. So, DUI. And that now, I just was finished up a 5-year, and you get a DUI. What's going to happen now? It's going to be jail time, and I may never get licensed again. And that 5 years of not being able to drive in today's world, not being able to drive, shit. I mean, when you depend on others to pick you up, I mean, they might have other things they got to do.
Right.
But so, you know, I'd had it, you know, let's go ahead and, you know, I don't want to live the rest of my life like these last 5 years. Fuck that, excuse my language, but fuck that shit. So I got home at Rod's place. He cut his honeymoon short and came home. And I think I threw my cell phone against the wall or something. I borrowed his cell phone. I went walking. I called my girl and my brother, because to me, I was saying my final goodbye without telling them. And my girl called on to it. Sisters catch on to shit. My brother's very streetwise, but he didn't even catch on. He was just like, ah, man, stop, we'll figure something out. My girl, she was like, you stop thinking like that. I was like, fuck, she caught it quick. But you know, I said, yeah, don't worry about it. So I went and took a walk around this neighborhood, thinking that, you know, I'm going to do it. I just want to figure out a way to. I don't want to shoot myself or hang myself or any of that nonsense. I was going to get the biggest pile of cocaine, but I got to figure out where to go, you know, because I don't want to be found like, you know, like that. And that's what I was walking and contemplating how, and then I started talking with God. I was like, God, if you don't want me to do this, you got to give me a sign, and it's got to be pretty obvious. I'm a dumb fuck, so you got to make it obvious. And you know, and I'm walking, the phone rings. It's not my phone, it's Rod's. So I look down because I had used his phone. It ain't no number I recognize, so I got to get back now in case it's an important call for him. And I'm still walking, waiting for something to light up or some shit like "don't do it" or something. And you know, after the phone rang, I turned around and go back to the house. I got back to the door. I remember getting back to the door and saying, thank you. I didn't figure you'd help me, asshole. And I went in, told Rod, I said, man, your phone rang. I'm sorry. I got back as quick as I could. He checked it. You know, and just his eyes like lit up, and he was like, brother, this is for you. You need to hear it. And I get it. And it's Shawn Michaels, who we haven't talked at that point in like over 5 years.
Wow.
And this is my friend's phone. And Shawn is inviting me, he left a message, he was inviting me to go to AIM, which was Athletes International Ministry in Phoenix, Arizona. And I thought to myself, I was walking and praying, like, if you want to give me a sign, I mean, can you beat that? And he got the number, you know, when I talked to him, I said, how did you get this number? He said, oh, some fan up in Ohio asked me if I'd talk to you. I said, I don't have his number. He goes, I got it. And he gave Shawn, a fan gave Shawn that number. just a few days earlier, and he calls during that talk with God, give me a sign. I mean, if that ain't a sign, I don't know what is. So I did. I went to that ministry out in Phoenix, and Shawn baptized me, dunked me in the water, and did all that. And for like 3 or 4 days, I was living a pure life.
And then on the 5th day,
4th or 5th day, I didn't feel it as much. Things fade away,
Right.
from the original, the feeling. Like that was a miracle. I told everybody, even in jail, I told that. But yeah, and then things fell apart. But the rocker reunion came out of that because Vince heard about it, and he goes, "Oh, Marty's changed. Let's bring him in. Let's do a rocker reunion." And we did that. And I thought it went well. You was talking about, the Marty chant in 2005. Damn, you asked that about an hour ago, didn't you? and this is how it happened. I mean, it was so cool, man, to be in the ring. I ain't been in the ring in 5 or 6, 7. The last match I had was with The Miz.
Calgary kid.
Yeah. And
yes, yeah.
it was actually in Jacksonville because Snoop Dogg was always, we were buddies from, casual buddies. And I've always liked him. And I guess he was a fan of mine. But he was there. He introduced me to the ring that night. They did it with him and the Bella twins. They broke in and said, "No, your opponent tonight is the Miz." The Miz, he was telling the Miz, "Marty, Jannetty, you were talking all that shit." I can almost remember word for word. You were talking all that stuff about Marty Jannetty, But you know what Marty Jannetty is? He's an Intercontinental Champion. He's a Tag Team Champion. And you know what he is? LC is, he's your opponent tonight. And Miz is like, "Nah, bullshit." And then here I come. The music plays, and I go to the ring.
So cool.
And that was it for until 2005. I think that was in '98 or something. No, '99. No, I'm sorry. 2000. I don't know when it was.
It had to be,
Put it that way.
Had to be sometime in the 2000s because it was the Miz.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, because Miz wasn't there. But
and then but it was so good. I remember behind the curtain waiting for the music play to go out. I was nervous as a mofo. And Shawn's like, "What is wrong with you? We've only done this for 40 years." I said, "They're going to remember you. The worst thing as a wrestler you want to do, we call it walking out to a symphony of silence. There's no yays or no boos, just silence. That's the worst. Just boo me but don't be quiet." And I'm thinking it's going to be crickets. We're going to hear crickets. And Shawn's like, "They're not going to forget us. Stop worrying." I said, "They ain't going to forget you because you ain't left." He's been there. And I'm nervous about that, And the music plays and they pop. And they're like, well, they remember the music and they think it's Shawn. Well, we come through and they just exploded, man. I was so happy that happened. Plus, it was good to hear again. I'm just gloating in it, and Shawn goes, "Okay, we got to go to the ring now." I was just standing there. And when we got in the ring, they did the chant, like you said, "Marty," and it was like my hometown in Atlanta, Georgia, So that made, I'm actually outside of Atlanta, but, it's pretty much where I grew up. And them going, "Marty, Marty," like after all it felt so good.
That's dope.
And that was that.
Awesome. Well, I think we got to get you back inside.
I already know what the original question was.
No, you answered it. It was about the reunion and how it happened.
Yeah.
And that was an awesome story. Thank you for sharing that,
Yes.
because I know that was really dope about how he called you in your moment. I want to thank you for doing this podcast. We really have been trying to get you for a while.
I appreciate y'all having me. You care
Marty
enough about
Jannetty,
it.
Attitude Era podcast. We may have to cut some of that for the first time ever, but we'll see what happens.
Well,
Thank
too
you so
long
much,
and there's a
man.
couple words.
Oh, yeah, we might have to cut that out. Attitude Era podcast.
Yes, sir.